Good day and welcome to our podcast. This is Aakash Patel and you're watching Elevating Today. This is episode 6, season 1. And our business, Elevate Inc., was created in 2012 to help companies that are relocating to the Tampa area and entrepreneurs that are starting businesses. Today's guest is Brian Sallee, and you're going to learn a lot about him and how his startup community and his new venture, Avorit and Modern Casual, has really helped transform Tampa Bay's landscape of innovation. I want to recognize before we start one of our clients, Questmont. Taylor and Sonia Ranker own Questmont. They are a family virtual office here in the Tampa Bay area. They just recently donated, as you can see by this image right here, $10,000 to the Advent Health Carrollwood Foundation. That's going to help the MRI Center. They've been helping their clients, but helping the Tampa community for not only a long time, but now they are helping grow the economy here by opening a new Tampa Bay office, even though we're in some uncertain times. So I want to say congratulations to Taylor and Sonia and the whole Questmont team. If you're interested in learning more about our customers and about our services, visit our website, elevateinc.com. That's elevate-inc.com. And also, if you want to be on our podcast or have feedback for us, please send us an email at info at elevate-inc.com. Enjoy today's show, and we appreciate your support. Good day and welcome to Elevating Today. This is season 1, episode 6, and I'm so excited about our guest today, my friend Brian Sallee from Avorit. Brian, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
It's great to see you as always. And Brian, I know a lot of people at home are wondering, who is Brian Sallee and what is Avorit? So tell us a little bit about your background and what you do.
Awesome. So I was born and raised overseas, moved here to Tampa about 12, 13 years ago, and really started helping in the local community. And today we help other organizations grow and scale. What we found is that most businesses need to reinvent at various points in their journey. Could be when they're starting out, pre-revenue, could be when they hit $10 million or $100 million. But as an organization grows, they've got to think differently. They've got to change what they do. What worked before may need to change. And so here at Avorit, we've got a 3-pronged approach to help people clarify their message and position their brand to disrupt. Secondly, we work with their leadership team to help align the strategy with their leaders in the organization. And then thirdly, it's about getting in front of the right customer at the right time. And that's what we do. We're helping other organizations break through growth barriers and solve problems. And you were yourself an entrepreneur, correct? Yes. This is one of my ventures that I've done so far.
And you've been in Tampa, like you said, for about nearly a decade, a little over a decade. What does this community, what does this innovation community mean to you?
It means everything to me. I think Tampa's the best city in the nation, honestly. We've got the sports, we've got the water, we've got all the amenities of living where other people vacation. But more than anything, it's about the people that are here. And I found, and one reason that I've stayed, is that the culture for starting businesses, growing businesses, helping each other is just noticeably different from other cities that I've personally visited. And I just love the culture of Tampa Bay as a community. It's helped a number of my businesses grow, and I highly recommend when other businesses come to the area, it's one of the first things I tell them is, stay here. Even as you grow and are successful, stay in Tampa, because this culture will just come around you and help you be successful and celebrate that success.
Now you have customers all over the nation and some internationally.
We do.
Everyone in this past March was affected by what we call COVID-19.
Yes.
How did COVID-19 impact you and your clients?
We're very blessed because the position we're in is helping other organizations lane change. We talk about lane changing. Even if you're doing great, have your blinker on, be ready to change lanes. And as COVID hit, everybody was rethinking what they were doing. And so in our immediate circle, the organizations that we work with, they were all trying to figure out how to adjust, how to adapt. And so working with their leadership team to be able to clarify their message, help grow and scale, get in front of the right customer at the right time. A number of our customers went from having retail locations to not having retail overnight. Other ones had products that massively were successful and took off that were affected maybe by PPE or some other industry that was affected positively. We had a number of our customers that their core business had to be put on pause, and so we were able to help them innovate and adapt. And so our organization has grown a lot this year. We've grown exponentially. And it's been by helping other companies grow and scale and adapt and keep their team engaged and on board. And we've been able to see maybe the silver lining, not to make light of the situation by any means, but just trying to help others be successful in 2020.
Now, a lot of people during a pandemic, the transitions happen. Unfortunately, people have to cut budgets, as you can imagine. There are a lot of companies that had to let go of some folks, and so you see a lot of businesses starting out of this pandemic.
Absolutely.
What do you say to folks that are starting a business right now during this kind of uncertain times?
Sure. Well, it's all about being clear and being disruptive. And one of the first things we do is I would sit down with, whether it's an entrepreneur or a successful executive launching a new business unit, would be to be very clear about what you're trying to accomplish. Just like any other time in history, quite frankly, you still have to decide what you're going to do, be clear about what vertical you're going after, what type of customer you can help. Even if you're a nonprofit organization, who is it that you're making a difference with? And be consistent at that same time. And I think when you're leading in uncertain times, when you're navigating uncertain times, that level of consistency makes all the difference. I know it's made a difference for us here at Avorit. The reason we've grown so much has been because of us staying consistent in what we do. And any entrepreneur, anybody starting out, I would say the exact same thing.
And we've had the privilege of working with Avorit for over a year now, and successfully have landed a great amount of customers together. And I want to say, I think determination and persistence by your part, but also you're pretty community-minded, and you talked about Tampa, but what specifically are you involved in the Tampa Bay community?
I love supporting the entrepreneurial and startup world. So Florida Funders, Synapse, been very involved with supporting that organization and love seeing the success that they've had, supporting anything that I can do out of the Wave, out of any other incubator here in Tampa.
You spoke at Embark not too long ago.
Embark Collective, absolutely. Used to be in-person events as much as I could, and this year, thanks to you, switched to a lot of webinars, a lot of virtual events, and anything in that Tampa ecosystem, any nonprofit organizations that are supported has been something that I've tried to get behind and support as much as I can.
And you're a strategic planner. You talk to your customers about the future, of course, and that's how you're who you are. What does Avorit look like in 5 years from today?
Great question. We've been forced as much as anyone else to move completely to the virtual world. We've not been in any physical office for quite a while now. One thing we've just launched is we're getting into online education and online training. So we just launched an initiative under Avorit called Otago Academy, just to help executives and leaders who are leading in uncertain times be able to take online training and be able to use videos and study from their computer instead of going to that conference or trade show. So that's something that we're doing as part of Avorit. I think 5 years down the road, we're just going to see that continue to progress. We're going to be doing more education online as well, more videos. We may even get into a podcast if we're inspired by you.
Yeah, that's great.
But I think that's trending forward as we help other organizations grow and scale. It's just going to continue that direction.
Now you're also a husband, a father, and another child on the way. Congratulations to you and your wife.
Thank you.
A lot of people say that it's hard to balance just your daily parenting duties as far as your spousal duties and as well as being an entrepreneur because you have a lot of hats to wear. How does Brian Sallee work in the work-life balance? Like, what is your secret?
Sure. Well, I don't know that it's that if I'm successful at it yet. It's definitely a journey. Certainly, on a practical level, I have to put a lot of time in before the kids wake up, for sure. That's the quietest time I get is before 7:30 in the morning. Aakash, it's been interesting because it's forced me to try to accomplish more in less amount of time and to still be done work by 5:30 every day. And it's actually pushed me to be more productive because I know that I've got that line in the sand where I want to be with my family after 5:30 in the evening. And it's helped me focus on the things that really matter, say no to things that don't make as big of a difference, and it creates more space for the yeses. And so trying to be a dad and a husband and an entrepreneur at the same time has forced me to rethink the return on my investment of my time. And so I've had to get a lot more productive with everything from email to meetings to meeting virtually, and using a lot of Zoom calls has helped a lot this year. Quite frankly, I've been in my car a whole lot less in 2020 than I was in 2019. and it's working out as it is.
Yeah, I mean, travel must be down for just not just you, for all your clients, and
Absolutely.
so I mean that must have impacted a little bit of your schedule this year.
It has. Last year, even if you and I introduced to an executive, you introduced me to somebody, the common response was, hey, let's get together in a couple weeks. Maybe we'll see each other when I'm in town or when I'm flying out here, et cetera. And now it's much more instant. People are very used to doing a video conference. They're used to jumping on a quick Zoom call. And I've been able to meet and interact with a lot of leaders and a lot of businessmen and women digitally who may not have actually put the focus. And maybe a side benefit is I'm noticing a lot of people this year are, they've got better webcams now, better backdrops, better lighting. And so as the video quality has gone up, it's made it easier to conduct business and meet people. And I do miss in person. In person is always better in my personal opinion, but you adapt and you adjust and you do what you can.
Yeah, 2020 has been the year of pivot, right? We're pivoting
Yes.
to different ideas and concepts for sure. What is something that most people at home don't know about you?
For me, it's one thing is that I was born and raised in Haiti, and
wow.
I do work a lot with technology companies, and I enjoy sharing that with entrepreneurs because I didn't have power or internet until almost elementary school at least, and almost into middle school. And so I find it a little bit ironic that I was born and raised on a Caribbean island, a third world country. It's impacted a lot of the ways that I think about things, the way that I'm scrappy as an entrepreneur, how I help others, launch lean products. I think does come back to my original upbringing. So, yeah, not a lot of people know that about me.
And a lot of people that are starting businesses talk about their mentors in their life that have kind of got them on the right track. And sometimes when you think about your career, has there been one or two people that kind of helped you, guide you along the way?
Absolutely. I mean, here in the Tampa community, one of my mentors has been Herb Getchus, the former president for McNichols, well-respected organization here in Tampa. He took them from 1 to 17 locations, and when not long after I moved to Tampa, he kind of took me under his wing. No particular reason. Very busy man, involved in a lot of nonprofit work here in the community, and so there's been a number of people like that have been very impactful and that have built into me, given me ideas, tips, tricks, how to navigate the world that goes on around us.
Now, you also have talked about mentoring others.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find the time to, and there's people out there that are going to reach out to you after watching the podcast. They want you to mentor them. What would you say to them?
Sure. For me, I just make it a priority. I really, it sounds a little bit cliche, I realize as I say it, but I really do enjoy helping other entrepreneurs launch their business. And it's fun for me. And I just set aside part of my time. I think what I would say to anybody else in a similar situation, where you enjoy doing something that may or may not make sense in the grand scheme, is just make the time for it. Small amounts of time invested consistently yield exponential results. And so I find that if I can just meet with somebody for coffee or virtually once per month, I can encourage them, inspire them, maybe challenge them, show them something that I did wrong, a mistake that I made, and help that person be successful. So I just make it a priority. I've probably got about a dozen people that I do that with regularly on a monthly basis, and I just set aside time to make that a priority for me.
Yeah, you talked about failure, and a lot of clients, and you and I share, are afraid to fail. But you and I know that entrepreneurs, the successful ones at least, have all failed at some point, and makes them who they are. What do you say to people that that have had a tough time? I mean, not even just during the pandemic, but just starting a business, getting it off the ground. What's your feedback for them as far as the importance of failure through the journey?
Sure. Well, I can definitely say firsthand, I made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of failure, and I think I didn't realize it until I was looking back, is that I somehow am wired, maybe because of my upbringing, I don't know, to look at failure as a real-world A/B test of this didn't work, and so something else might work. And even with my kids going through kindergarten now, a lot of us are taught at a very early age that when you do a science experiment, you have a control and a variable. But in business, at least for me, it's easy to forget that.
Right.
And to think that I've got the greatest idea in the world, and if I put enough money or time behind it, it will work. And the reality is that's just not true. And so I look at failure as a constant and a variable. Maybe I don't know which one is going to fail, and if something doesn't work, I have to look for a way around it. And so looking back at any successes that I've had, I think it's been because of a failure that I did make and how I responded to it. And I love sharing that story because I've seen other entrepreneurs and leaders be successful with that as well. When they do pivot, they do lane change, they do look at that as a real world A/B test.
And speaking of lane changes, I do want to touch on one of your other companies, Modern Casual.
Yes.
I think the viewers out here are going to be interested to see a picture which we'll put up on the screen, and just tell us the story of what is Modern Casual and how did you get into this?
Sure. So the concept behind it is, being able to design a custom shoe that's pretty popular in Europe or Asia. And what we did is we just fused technology and fashion together. And it's been a bit of a fun project for me because Avorit, we're growing quickly and helping other organizations, and Modern Casual has been a new brand that I could launch. So you go to the website and you design any custom shoe you want.
Share the website.
Shoe website, absolutely. Design any custom shoe you want that matches your outfit, and like I said, it's just a fusion of technology and fashion together that's been a lot of fun to work on this year.
And what's the website again?
moderncasual.com.
And what's the feedback been from the customers so far?
It's been phenomenal. We're used to getting custom clothing, or at least having access to custom clothing here in the U.S.
Of course.
But then you get a black and a brown shoe. And if you're in Europe and Asia, in a lot of scenarios, you get the custom clothing, but you can get a custom shoe too. And so Americans that are here, my friends and clients, are just blown away when they get their first one. Last week, a CEO received his on Sunday and ordered his next pair on Monday. He was just blown away with the quality and being able to see his own, almost artwork on the style of Modern Casual shoe.
So now a lot of people are saying, that's impressive that you have, the shoe business, and then of course you've got your coaching business and what we just talked about. What is the impact that you want to leave when you're talking about meeting with customers and meeting with CEOs, because they might not have the bandwidth to take on both concepts at the same time. So how do you juggle that?
Sure. So I like to eat my own dog food, and so I've been treating Modern Casual as a bit of an experiment for my own clients. So I can try something and experiment it, to your point of a failure. And quite frankly, I've done things this year with the brand that I am not doing now. Other things work really well, and it's actually helped, I think, Avorit be a better organization because it allows me to say, hey, we actually tried this. We actually did this year in 2020, and we can help with whether it is a leadership approach, clarifying your message, getting in front of the right customer at the right time. Modern Casual, I won't say it's an experiment, but from my perspective, it almost is. It's a real world way for me to try to test out my own ideas, and that way I can make a bigger difference with Avorit.
Is there a brick and mortar store in the making? With
nope, completely virtual, all web-based, so completely bespoke shoes fulfilled via the internet, handmade in Spain.
Now, of all the impacts that you've had in your life, all the things that have kind of happened to you with the business personally and professionally, what's something that you remember when you talk about, a career tipping point, that you think that this is one thing that happened to me, that is long-lasting and that's as impactful, and that you talk about with every customer you have? Sure.
For me, with my first company that I did in Tampa, we were doing a cloud computing company, and very long story short, we spent the first 2 or 3 years, and it was my directive, obviously, doing everything for everybody, and we were moderately successful. And there was a pivoting point about 3 years in where someone challenged me. It was my dad, actually, challenged me to pick one thing and zero in and pick one thing and do it really well. And that actually was a turning point for me in the organization. We saw exponential growth after that, which was to say no to things. We could do anything, especially in the technology space. It's very easy to say yes, and we'll do that for you, and we'll do this for you. But when we laser focused in on one product and one approach and one buyer persona and one channel, then the company actually really took off exponentially, and that's really what was responsible for that success. And I can't really take any credit for it. Like I said, somebody else had to call it out with me, and I actually really do share that with virtually all my clients. Anybody that I network with, I chat with, and people ask. I do share that story. That's a failure in hindsight that I had. I wish I'd focused about 3 years earlier. And other organizations that I've seen that do that as well. A lot of entrepreneurs and leaders are brilliant, smart people who can do a lot of things, but just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right.
And so I think that would be a message I'd share with other people as well, is if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like you're stuck, or you feel like you're going too fast or too slow, just focus a little bit and figure out what's the one thing that you can spend your time on, build a team around it, build your message around it, and do a great job with it.
Yeah, we get asked all the time, as you know, at Elevating, to do other things outside our scope. And I said, I'm not good at it, I'm not going to do it. But I know other people like, Brian and others that are, so I stay in my lane as well. Now, Avorit, I wanted to ask, how did you come up with that name?
Great question. Through one of my mentors a number of years ago. It stands for Audio, Video, or Information Technology, which was kind of my view on the world. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I love disrupting business with technology. And so Audio, Video, or Information Technology was the original acronym. For me, I was looking for a name that was earlier in the alphabet, not necessarily with an A, but starting earlier, and trying to find the .com. And it just kind of clicked as a one-word name that I could put meaning behind, and it didn't have a preconceived notion. When you hear Avorit, Avorit is who we are. It's not another word that's out there. So that's how we came up with it, and we've stuck with it now. So,
well, that's great. It's a great name, and you've done a great job of getting the word out, and we appreciate working with you so much. I know that we're running out of time, but before we do, I wanted to ask you, is there anything you want to share with our viewers that are watching for the first time, just to learn about you and your business?
I would say, just to look at the next couple months going into 2021 as an opportunity to focus and disrupt a little bit, clarify your message. That's what we do here at Avorit, is helping others do that, and hopefully that's an inspiration and encouragement to others.
And we'll put your email address and your website, of course, on our page here. And is there a contact us button on the webpage, or something you want them to fill out before they contact you?
There is, yeah. We're happy to do an initial consultation. We got a form on there, got live chat. We're on social media, thanks to you. Happy to support anybody in the community that we possibly can.
Yeah, and talk about social media. Social media has been a big part of your business lately. And how has that impacted you personally and professionally? It
has been. Social media is about a conversation. It's about joining conversations around topics, and regardless of the platform, it makes a pretty big difference to be alive and well. And we're seeing some of our clients who have just ignored social media for the past couple of years finally realize that with 2020, that if you can't go to a brick and mortar location, you can't interact with a salesperson. Social media has kind of even evolved during 2020, in my opinion, as a interactive way to communicate, and it's kind of a heartbeat of a business online in many ways.
Great. Well, Brian, we appreciate your time today, and we know that you're very busy, and we thank you so much for being on our podcast, and we look forward to working with you for many more years to come.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you. This is Aakash Patel with Elevate Inc., and you've been watching Season 1, Episode 6 with Brian Sallee of Avorit. Thanks so much for joining us today.